Hello, my village. As promised, I said around 2 o'clock, I'll be going live today. I'm just going to share this really quick with my my private group and my business page. Give me just a second. Hi, Lana. And if you guys want to share it, you can go ahead. I'm not one of those people that's going to harass you to share my video. So let me just share it to my other page so that the people in my group can watch. So bear with me just one moment. Hello. Hey, Coach. Okay. So we're going to have some real conversation today about generational curse. I have mixed feelings about generational curse, but we're going to get to the bottom of it. And if you guys have any topics or questions, you can drop them in the comment. Alright, so now it's shared with my business page. I hope you guys having a good day today. I am still struggling from jet lag. I don't know when it's going to be over. Oh my gosh, you guys. The struggle is so real. It's ridiculous. And, hold on. I just got a message. Let me get my notes. Got my notebook. But, what are some of y'all thoughts about generational curse? Because I have like low-key mixed feelings. Hey, bro. Randy, you have mixed feelings too? How was your event, Lana? Oh yeah, it was Earth Day. I forgot. But my mixed feelings are good and bad because I look at generational curse in two different ways. Sometimes it is real, where there is a curse, because a lot of families keep skeletons in the closet and you never know. Like, things will just roll over generation after generation, and then you finally find the truth once you get older or can understand the reality of what was going on when you were younger. You can rid it. That is so true, and I'm gonna talk about that too. So like, I used to feel like being a single mother was a generational curse because my mom was unmarried and a single mom, and her mother was married but separated and pretty much a single mom of 9 kids. So I just like used to feel like, oh my gosh, I'm a single mom, this is a generational curse. But then I look at it like, we do what we have to do. Yes. Yeah, bro, I'm not wrong. And you go hear some truth too, because you already know how we grew up. So, but I look at it as like, I always never not had my dad in my life. So it wasn't really like a bad situation for her to be a single mom and me to be a single mom. Like, my son had father figures. Like, my uncles were great father figures. They were all providers. They taught me like how women should be treated. Most of the men in my family like are single fathers. They had full custody of their child and raised their child. So I never had like a really, really bad experience with male leaders. They showed me that a man is supposed to lead the household. Most of the women in my family were stay-at-home wives and mothers. So I always had that example on how to, like, a woman at home teaching me how to be domestic, how to be submissive, as well as they were staying at home and the man was the provider out with their own business. Because a lot of the men in my family are entrepreneurs. I don't remember most of them working for anybody. Everyone made their own money, and that is a great generational curse to pass on. A tradition of entrepreneurs, strong black women, strong male providers. A lot of people don't get a chance to see that. So that's why I have mixed feelings. All the women were educated. Even though they were stay-at-home wives, they went to college, they were educated. I like to take that on to generation after generation where they instill education and everything. Thanks, bro. Yeah, you know, my dad, the way he taught me, like, don't depend on no man. But yeah, I don't feel like anymore that being a single mom is a generational curse, because I've through generations they have passed down the values, the morals, and I've learned to never settle or put up with BS, things like that. But they did pass along education, learning how to hold your own, like being an independent woman. Even though most of the women were married, they were independent. They were stay-at-home moms. They took care of the house. I learned how to cook, everything. That's one of the things that was handed along. A lot of women don't even know how to keep a happy home or cook and things like that. So I also, being an entrepreneur, it was different then, where the men were the provider, the women stayed at home, went to school, took care of home, raised the kids until their kids went off to college, and then they started their career. But now, in my generation, both the men and the women are all entrepreneurs. So we changed it a little. They're providers, but we all are independent. We all can hold our own. None of us, well, a few of us are married, but we pretty much is the entrepreneur generation, which I don't have no problem with. A lot of us do not like working for anybody, and that's always been important in my family. Like, make your own money. You don't have to, nobody tell you when you can take off, when you can do this. They always had family business. Most of the men went out on the road doing truck driving. And we're really, really, really close family. So it's like your aunties are more like your second mom. So your cousins are more like your siblings. Even though it was a lot of us, it was always like 6 of us in the same school at the same time. We're all close in age, because my mom, it was about 9 of them. So all of them had kids around the same time. So we're a few months older, younger, a year or two. So we were all mostly like best friends. We usually don't have no outside friends like that. Like, my mom is my cousin, auntie, and godmother. Like, me and my sister are godparents to my little cousin. It's like we don't really choose outside people, because how close-knit our family is. That goes on from generation to generation. We don't have drama. Everybody can come together. You can invite anybody to any event without worrying about who's gonna feel a certain way. But I started looking at it in a more positive light, where it's not so much a bad thing when you look at it. Yeah, generational blessings. I agree, Lana. And you can always break the cycle. So if there are any negative things that pass on from generation to generation, like, for example, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. Like, it was a struggle. Like, my dad wasn't the best example. My brother can can contest to that. But, like, he grew up in a drug environment where he sold drugs and stuff like that, and that carried on to my brothers doing it, and then another brother doing it, and that wasn't the best example. But I look at it, when you know better, you do better. When you feel like that's the only option to get money, and you in that get rich quick mindset, growing up in Compton and Watts, it's a little different. But you don't know better. Until I got older, I'm like, okay, there is more out there. When you start expanding and traveling and getting around like other cultures and things like that, you learn like, oh, that wasn't right. They do have other options. Like, I try to teach that to my youngest brother, like, take the other option. Getting money quick ain't always the first option, because you need to learn hard work. You need to learn those ethics. So in that sense, I say, like, the cycle have to be broken, but they have to have someone to lead them to know there's other options, and that you can do more than that. So I had my brother go to college. Like, I want him to be the first brother to graduate with a college degree. He's going for business administration to get a business degree. He's the youngest out of, it's like 8, because I have 2 stepbrothers and then 4 other brothers from my dad, and then this one brother from my mom. So it's like I have I was getting a call. But pretty much when you know better, you do better. So that's pretty much the cycle has been broken in that sense. And also, you can't heal what you don't face. Some people don't want to admit that, oh, maybe I did parent too bad, or I wasn't the best role model. When you're not ready to admit that, of course it's going to keep going on after generation when everybody's in denial. Nobody wants to admit that maybe I was a screw up and I played a part in you turning out this way, but let me get you help. Like as a parent coach, it's hard when you're talking to someone. Like I see parents all the time having issues with their kids, struggling, and sometimes it's hard for them to admit they need help. And that's where I come in, where I'm teaching them, I'm giving them free classes, things like that. Some people don't know that they might be steering their child down the wrong path until you point it out, or you start showing them different things. And when they start using your techniques and your practices, then they're like, oh, that actually worked, so maybe I was doing something wrong. Like I seen parents in denial that their kids are like the worst, and I dealt with it yesterday. A little kid soaked up my son out at the playground. They thought he was getting wet, and I went out there and told them, like, do it look like he's getting wet with you guys? He got jeans on, Jordans, and a t-shirt. Do it look like those are clothes that he would get wet in? So I went to talk to their parents, but their parents were so ignorant, I couldn't even have a conversation with them. So I had to just let it go, and I'm like, I see why this child is like that. Like, the kids were real disrespectful, talking back to me, and the old me would have been like, I'm going to check your kid, and then I'll go to your parent later. Like, action first, and then, like, you need your butt whipped. But I tried to go to the parents. There was no point. So I just had to just file a report with the office. Like, I'm tired of these kids messing with my kid. The old me would have got some kids over here and beat all their little butts. But I've changed, and I try to take other action, because I'm like, it's something bothering that child for them to always keep going out and bothering other kids. Because the office was like, oh, we always get complaints about those two kids. And I just couldn't believe, like, nobody's doing anything about it. And they're like, it's out of our hands. We tried to talk to the parent, but so many parents are literally in denial that their kid are causing problems. And that is a problem. I offered to coach the kids for free, because obviously it's something deep down, rotten in the core, that needs help. They need somebody to talk to. And one of the parents, like, always gone. And then the other parent, like, he's outside smoking and drinking every day, all throughout the night, because I've complained about them making noise. 1 o'clock in the morning, telling them, can y'all be quiet? I got to work at 4 in the morning. But it starts at home, and that's what I always tell people. Everything starts at home. You are responsible for your child until they're 18. Your child needs that guidance. They need to be on, like, in a structured environment. And it starts with us. If we don't go and take our pride out of it and say, I need help, it would never get corrected. You can't fix what you don't want to face. And that's simple as that. And I try to open parents' eyes about that, because it don't do no good for your child for you to be in denial. Then your child will grow up needing counseling for the way you parent them. We're trying to raise mentally healthy kids, so they won't be hurting people as adults, and damaged goods, when they had the opportunity for you to correct it before it gets too out of hand. And that's why I started writing and helping parents. I have my ebook, the 5 steps to change your child's behavior. But that's why I did that. And it was a lot of people that did get that book, and I had got a lot of great feedback from people about that, and I love it. Like, I love that I'm able to help change people's life and make it a little easier. It's stressful being a parent, especially a single parent. And I've been a single parent since day one. It is not an easy task, and that's why I only have one kid. But we have to just admit to ourselves first that we need help. If your child is causing chaos at home, reach out to somebody. Even if you just need to talk, like, I'm available to talk. You can send me a message, email. We can have a one-on-one session. I have all that available, and I will fit you in my schedule for those who are ready to make a change, make your life a little easier. Why make your life harder than what it got to be? Simple as that. I am still working on getting the price lower. Yeah, Lana, and it was a good conversation. I just had a one-on-one talk with someone that just hit me up out of nowhere, like, I need your help, can we talk? I told her, give me an hour, we can talk. And it was a good, healthy conversation. Sometimes you just need somebody to talk to, and that's not going to have a biased perspective on the situation. And I'm open to that. I give everybody at least a 1 hour or 45-minute session to talk and have a breakthrough session to see if I'm the right fit for them to help them in their situation. I do have another program about co-parenting, because I know a lot of people struggle with it. I've struggled with it, and that's what made me come to the conclusion that I need to figure something out to help other people, because it's not easy, especially with me co-parenting from 3,000 miles away. My child father is in Florida. I'm here in Las Vegas. That's hard. My child would go years without seeing his dad, and then we have to still build that communication, that relationship from a distance, especially when his dad was deployed. He's in the military. Well, he's no longer in the military now, but when he was deployed when I gave birth, and he was deployed the first like 3 years in Japan and other places. So it was kind of hard to co-parent from a distance. But I do have another ebook, The Guide to Co-Parenting Like a Boss. Make your life easier. I have the co-parenting contract, where it breaks down literally everything that can come up for a dispute in regards to co-parenting. The ebook is only $7, and the co-parenting contract right now, I believe it's only $27. It's cheaper than going to court for custody. You can go get that contract notarized, and it is a legal binding agreement, and it will save you the headache of going to court and letting the judge tell you when you can see your child. You can be adults and have that discussion and work it out together. If you need a mediator, that's pretty much what the whole program is about, is having 4 sessions, 1 hour sessions with me, with both parents, sitting down to break down like who's going to get what, who's going to pay for what, when you're going to have them with breaks, how you're going to communicate with each other, things like that, boundaries, who's going to be around the child, where you live. Like me, I don't even know where my son and dad live. He don't know where I live either. But we keep it that way because that's what worked best for us. So for each person, it's a little different. Like, we have places where we can meet up to exchange our kid and stuff like that. But that's just what was comfortable for us. And I was okay with that. Like, I literally sent my son to Florida by himself on a plane for the whole month of December for him to spend time with his dad, and I didn't even know his dad's address. But it was something that he didn't see him for 3.5 years, and I'm not one of those women that would keep him away from his child. He wanted to see his dad wanted to see him, he wanted him for a month, go ahead. I don't mind getting a break. And I also have my cards. I finally got it down to $30. I'm trying to get it lower. I'm working with 2 different distributors, and for those who don't know what the cards are about, they're icebreaker, if you can see it, icebreaker conversation like family night cards. There's 100 in the deck, and it's basically helping you communicate with your spouse, your child. How often do you really like get all in your child business and know how much do you really know your child, and how much do your child really know you? Like this question, it says, what's something you'd like to learn how to do? It just helps you get to learn where your child mindset is. Like, one of the questions I asked my son the other day with on the phone with his dad is, what if you can change one thing about me, what would it be? And he said, I'm bossy, so he would change that because I'm really strict. And then he said with his dad, I'll change a lot about you. Hey, Mom. his dad didn't know he didn't like a lot about him. So it just helped us understand like where he's coming from, and it made him more comfortable to want to talk in that setting and let us know how he feels. So he's like, oh, I'm in power, like I get to answer questions and we're not going to get mad. You can say whatever. Like, I'm going to start giving you guys some questions to ask your kid and see. I want to see what responses that they have to the answer, like to the questions. Like, one of the questions is, do you think that telling the truth is always right, even if it hurts someone's feeling? Another one is, what do you dream about? If you can have your own country, what would you call it? Things like that. What is something that you don't understand about grown-ups? And what's another question? Like, what's something you would like to do as a job when you get older? Like, my son wanted to be a science teacher. Now he's talking about he wants to be a YouTube sensation and be popular on YouTube and get paid to do YouTube. He said he wanted to be an entrepreneur and he don't want to work for anyone, but he used to say he wants to be a science teacher. I talked to him about the other question, why do people get old? So they can understand that at some point everyone have to die, and then you can have that conversation with them. What is your favorite thing to do with the family? If you had $1 million, what would you spend it on? You can teach them about financial education on those type of questions. It just opened up the conversation to be able to talk to them in more depth about the topic. And what do you think heaven is like is one of the questions. Because some parents don't talk to their kids about religion. I do, because I want my kid to pray, know that God blesses us. We're blessed and highly favored. We don't wake up every day for no reason. So I do talk to him about religion and things like that, especially when I went on my trip to Rome and everything. And yeah, Mo, you can. You can definitely send me some. Since I haven't done the final order yet, because I'm still working on pricing to get it under $30, because it's so many cards, they're charging more. So that's why I haven't launched the pre-order yet. But you can definitely send questions. And my bad, what was I saying? Oh, when I was over in what was that? Italy. We went to the oldest church in the world, and it's all of Italy, Paris, London. It's mostly Catholic churches. So my family is Catholic, and I was baptized Catholic. And we talked about rosaries, because we got bought a few different rosaries, and he got his first rosary, and we blessed it with the blessing oil at the oldest church. And that's where the Pope preached, and we had sat in the church and had our discussion about the Pope. We had a discussion about rosaries, prayer, the Catholic religion, and all the sculptures and different things in the church, and how historical and how Catholic is pretty much like the richest religion. They're really rich. And he was looking at all the different statues, and they had like the grave sites for the other popes. And he got to learn about that, and we didn't have that serious of a conversation before we went to Rome, but once we were there, he was just really in awe of everything, how big the church is, how many people was there. There was like over 50,000 people on the tour to see this stuff and get to see Michelangelo's artwork on the ceiling and the cathedral and things like that. So we visited two cathedrals so that he can see and learn more about the Catholic religion and get souvenirs to take home. But like, he really, really loved it, and I didn't think he was going to be that like interested in learning about the religion and the church and rosaries. But he was like, we got to go to the church to get a rosary, and then we did the blessing oil and prayed on it. And it was like a proud moment that he was very interested. I'm like, this is why I tell you to pray, and things like that. And then teach them about God and forgiveness and confessing. Like, we seen the confession pews and stuff. where you go and confess to the priest, and I let them know how important it is to ask for forgiveness when you do something wrong. But it was a really good educational trip for him. They really do, and he do teach me. And it's so amazing. It is so amazing, amazing feeling to know like your child is like, oh, thank God, because he always hear me say, oh my gosh, we are so blessed and thank God. And I'm like, we're gonna pray. Like every time we praise in advance. We pray over my business and that this will be a legacy for him, and we pray about everything. So he love it. He's one of those kids that love like non-traditional things and like the outer space world. Like some of the questions I have is like, what do you think is outer space? So that we can have that conversation, because he loves like science. So I take him to the space museum, and we talk about the stars, and you get to find out like they find out stuff about you as well with the cards, because the parent edition that I have. Our kids know us as their parent, but they don't know who we were before we became a parent. They don't know what hobbies we had, because most of the time when you become a parent, you give up those things that made you happy before getting in that parent or mommy and daddy role. And it's always important to keep those hobbies as a parent, because you need to escape too. You're not always supposed to be in that mommy mode, daddy mode, and never have a break. You have to do your self-care as well, have a hobby, an outlet, and that lets your kids know, like, one of the questions was, what do you do when I'm not around you? And that's what the kid would ask the parent. So they can know, like, what does mommy or daddy do when I'm not around besides work? Like, what do you like to do? Do you like to read? What's your favorite color? Some kids know their birthdays and stuff like that, favorite color. Like, my son know mine. Oh yeah, Mo. See, my son talked to me about that too. Like, Mom, you never listen to me. So I had to pray for patience, because at one point when me and my son were like off balance, I literally needed the patience of God to deal with him. Like, I was at my wit's end before we had our transition, and we put in the work and we did the steps to get back on track and be one with each other. Now we're like best friends, but he know there's a thin line between your friend and your mom. So like, he know when I'm serious and when not to play around, and he know when it's okay for us to have fun and bond. But if you ask your kid, they literally will tell you everything about you. You might not want to hear it, but they definitely will let you know if you're doing a good job or not, because the kid will tell you you're the worst parent in the world in a quick minute. But sometimes they do it out of anger, frustration, but it's okay, because they need that outlet too. They need to be comfortable enough to talk to you about anything. So I always have that open door policy with my son. Like, if you feel in some kind of way, it's now or never. You better tell me now. He'll say like, oh, I'm not ready. I'll tell you after dinner. Because sometimes he'll be like, I don't want to talk about it, and he's shut down. But I'll keep pushing it, just to see what's going on. Like, do you need help? Do we need to talk? Did somebody, like me, I go into mommy panic mode. Did somebody touch you inappropriately? Like, I start asking all kind of questions, interrogating him. He's like, no, Mom, it's nothing like that. And then he'll be like, I'll talk to you after we eat dinner or when we get home. Like, if he's having a bad day at school, I can tell, because his whole aura and vibe is off. Like, he's not the same kid that he's always like really happy, always smiling, talking to everybody. If he's walking with his head down, I know something happened. I'm like, when do you want to talk? Then I make him pinky swear that he'll talk to me about it, just to make sure we're going to have that conversation. It might not be right now when you're not ready, but go ahead and process your emotions, and then we'll have that conversation. Or I'll have him write it out. Sometimes he like writing it. or I give him the phone. He can record it through the voice recorder, and I listen to it later if he don't want to talk about it in person. But I'm here to help you. And for some of you guys that don't know, I am a parent and family coach. I help you communicate with either your spouse and also your child to reestablish those bonds and connections and bring families back together. We have to fix home so that we can have mentally healthy kids. And if you need help with life balance, I know I got a lot of questions. A few weeks ago, I asked people, like, what is it you need help with? And I was overwhelmed with so many questions from different parenting groups that I follow, some here in Vegas and some like nationwide. Oh my God, that's what made me say, okay, a lot of people asked about potty training. That's why I'm going to do the class for potty training, because a lot of the followers have toddlers and little ones. And I know potty training can be tricky, especially with boys, because I had a struggle with potty training with my son. But my mom's like, oh, we potty trained you guys over the weekend. And I'm like, well, how did you do it in 2 days? So it's like I started asking people. His daycare worked with me. It took about a week or so for him to get it. Once I got him, he got me. We were in sync. But it's all in patience, and communication and knowing your child. You do have to know your child. What makes them comfortable, different things like that. Also, I had a topic, let me see. Weaning your child off of nursing. And the person asks, like, is milk after nursing necessary? It's different for each person, because I didn't waste time with the whole milk thing after nursing. I started introducing the soft and solid foods at about 5-6 months. So there are parents that I was going to reach out to my other coaches, because there's a lot of parents that had questions about ADHD and ADD and autism. So a lot of my followers have autistic sons, and I'm doing research to help them so I can give them some helpful resources on how to deal with it. And I was thinking of having like a discussion panel with all the mothers so I could see what problems they're having with their autistic kids, so I can know what help they need. But it was a large amount of questions about autism. I think I know a coach that do deal with the ADHD and the ADD, but I have to reach out to her to see who I can refer to. That's why I was going to reach out to all my coaches. I know there's a lot that follow me on Facebook, to see, just so that you can drop on my page what it is that you guys do, so I can know who to refer some of my clients to, because I know I can't help everybody. In certain situations, I'm not even going to try because I don't want to steer anyone in the wrong direction. I'm staying in my own lane, and I know I can't help everybody. So I do have some mothers that did have questions about work-life balance and budgeting. I thought about bringing on someone that do couponing, because I did do extreme couponing for a long time. I'm thinking of getting back into it, but it do take a lot of time, energy, and a lot of work and research. But I'm just now running out of, I'm on my last bottle of shampoo and conditioner. I haven't bought any in 4 years. That's how much I had. And I'm on my last tube of toothpaste. It's been 2 years since I bought toothpaste. And what else did I have an overload of that I haven't bought in a long, long time? But it's a lot of stuff that I had, supplies. That's why I stopped couponing, because I had too much stuff and nowhere to put it. So now that my stock is getting very, very low, it's time for me to go back to couponing again, because they have a really big coupon community in California and Vegas. You can search and look it up on Instagram. They have hashtag coupon community. Half the time it saves you the research, because all the women will tell you what store got what deal and what coupon to use and what insert from which week. So that saves you a lot of time. So I'll be writing it down like, oh, this store got this. Okay, I'm going to go to that store and get this. Or clearance items. You can do hashtag like Walgreens clearance. And they'll tell you what's on clearance. I'll be screenshotting and going to the store looking for those items that's 1 cent or ringing up wrong. but it's really fun and rewarding, and it saves you a whole lot of money. So I was thinking of, because I have friends that are still doing extreme couponing, and I was going to invite them on, and maybe we can collaborate and do a class on couponing. Girl, I have one, Randy. I have a friend. I'm going to have to reach out to her. I don't know if she's looking on the live right now, but I have one. She do her yard sales because she has so much stuff, especially with diapers and wipes and stuff like that. Oh my gosh, she's been doing it for years. Like, I've asked her, like, where do you get your inserts? And then now I found a girl on Facebook. She's actually have a couponing private group, and you can order the inserts from her. They mail you the inserts. It take a long time. I be sitting there cutting inserts while I'm working, and getting it together. Then I research which store gonna have which coupons. I have literally a box just for my coupons and a folder, so I can write down what to get from each store, how much I should spend, how much it would be. Because when I was a cashier at Walmart a long time ago, part-time after I had my baby, when I was trying to get back into the work field, these extreme couponers used to come to my register all the time. They used to help me because I'd be like, how do you do it? Like, I want to learn, because y'all come in here and get $200-300 worth of stuff and pay like $4. And I'd be like, how the heck do you do that? But then when I started doing it, like, I bought so many tubes of toothpaste, I'll go to multiple stores and don't pay nothing. Like, I'll get it all for free. The toothpaste would be 99 cents and I got a $1 off coupon. But then I'll have like 20 coupons because I buy inserts. So, hey Trina. But yeah, it's really beneficial. So I was thinking of bringing somebody on to help with budgeting. Like, my sister is a chef, so I thought about bringing her on to help people meal prep. So just different things to make life easier. You can ball out on a budget. And I was gonna see if my sister, I don't want to put her on blast, but I was gonna see if she can help me with a workshop with doing meal prepping on a budget, because I know people, it's hard. It's hard as a parent, a single parent, a mother, and you don't have time. And it's part of like our time management and our work-life balance. Me, I cook all my meals on one of my off days for the whole week, and I just prep them. And when you're using coupons, it also make it helpful. Not yet. I used to work with teens a lot, Mo, but I haven't. I have another coach that I'm mentoring that actually has a teen ministry, and that's her audience. So I haven't per se like did a workshop for teens. I can collab on one with the other coach. I don't know if she's on here, Coach Belinda, but she have that on lock. So she have that, the high school age kids, her teen ministry. You wish what, Trina? But yeah, and Trina, don't you work with, didn't you want to work with teens, Coach? But yeah, I had questions about single mothers, raising sons, how to get through the teen years, positive and negative parenting techniques and styles. What other questions? How to stay one step ahead of your child with technology. That's a hard one for some parents, because the way technology changed and how fast it changed, sometimes it's hard to keep up. Like, my son introduced me to YouTube. I never used to use YouTube, and now I have my own YouTube channel. And it's amazing how advanced these kids are. One of the other questions was about preteens and young adults being beyond their years. We all have seen that. These little kids are doing everything way before we have, or even thought of, or knew what it was. You got all these teen pregnancies and these crazy shows, 16 and Pregnant and stuff like that. It's like crazy. People didn't advertise being pregnant as a teenager. They tried to hide it. So it's kind of crazy, like, how it's just a norm now. It's not even a shock when you see a teenager pregnant. So I'm thinking of ways to help those parents that have reached out to me with those questions. Um, and one of them was, let me see, the work home balance as a single parent, and helping your child with self-regulation and impulse control. That was one of the other questions. And one of the ones I was going to address is, it's kind of a serious one for me being a single parent. One of the parents reached out about a topic for me to talk about is why schools insist on talking about what does your father do to a child when the child don't even know their father. I was just like caught off guard when she asked me that question, like, can you talk about that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, I've dealt with that where my son is like, oh, we're having a father son donut day and I don't have a dad to come to school. Like, I hate sometimes, I know it's not fair to say, oh, because I'm a single mom, they shouldn't say like, oh, do gender different activities at school, like, oh, mom and daughter day, or son and dad day, or daddy daughter dance and stuff like that. But what I don't think they take in consideration single parenting and also foster kids. That separates different groups of kids that may feel like very emotional about that, and like some parents don't want their child introduced to that type of stuff or feeling that kind of way and being like separated or can't participate in certain things, or kids who parents are absent in their life and you're asking them about what their father do for a living and they don't even know their father. Like, that's kind of hard. And they go home like, Mom, what did my dad do? My teacher asked me, what did my dad do? We are doing something or a project about that, and that is really, really hard. See, yeah, Lana, that is crazy. And then you have schools where some dads try to make up for the lack of other fathers being in the household. They'll adopt a kid and say, okay, I'll go to the dance with you. And like, certain communities will help with that situation, but we shouldn't have to do that. Like, we shouldn't put that much pressure on a child or make a child feel like that can affect their confidence. That can affect everything, because they feel like, well, I don't have a dad and so-and-so have a dad, and my son went through that. Like, my dad is overseas in the military. He's never going to come to Daddy Donut Day or whatever. Then you got moms dressing up like men to satisfy their child so their child won't be left out and can still participate. I've seen that a viral picture of a lady. She drew a mustache. She dressed in men clothes to go with her son to participate in the father son donut day. She did what she had to do, but people had stuff to say about it. Like, she should just let them have their day and let the fathers have their day. But he didn't have a dad in his life, and he shouldn't be punished because of that, because it's not his fault. So it's crazy how schools introduce certain things to our kids that sometimes they're not ready for, we're not ready for, and it should be left up to us to introduce that, like these gender neutral restrooms and stuff. How do you explain that to a kid when you haven't even talked about same sex and stuff like that? Like, I feel like that type of stuff, you took religion out of school, you need to take that too. Like, just keep it to yourself. Let the parents do what they got to do in their timing. So that was one of those topics that really stood out. When she asked that, I was like, wow, like, oh my gosh. I didn't ever think about that, even though I've dealt with it. But it's been a while since my son questioned any of that. He just be like, I just want to go. But it's amazing what our kids, the pressure that they have at school and us as parents at home. Because half the time we don't even know what they talking to our kids about at school, but I'm all in their business. I pop up on teachers because I do not trust the school system at all. That's why I homeschooled my son up until 2 months ago is when he went back on campus for 3rd grade. But I loved homeschooling him. Oh, that was one of the other questions. A few parents reached out to me about the Common Core, how parents can learn Common Core. I actually been doing research on this crazy Common Core learning that they're doing with these kids. Dollar Tree have Common Core books based on each grade for $1. It's helped me. I don't even have it on me. Oh my gosh. Next time I go live, I'll see if I can find it, because all my books are packed up in storage bins. But yeah, they have Common Core workbooks for parents to teach their kid Common Core, this crazy way of backwards math that they're teaching these kids. Even the new Incredibles movie, he joked about it, like, I don't know how to do that math, because the kid was like, Dad, that's not how you do it, and he just freaked out because it's crazy. It's backwards. It's like we as parents got to reteach ourselves just to be able to help our kid with homework. It make you feel like, dang, I have all these degrees and this make me feel real stupid. But it is backwards. But yeah, so like the next few weeks, I'll be talking about, one parent asked about morals and values, like teaching your kid morals and values, and screen time. I did a research in my master's program. I was majoring in research psychology about screen time for kids. It actually don't really affect kids as far as how much they're on iPads, watching TV or computer. Even I talked to ophthalmologists because I was concerned about my son always looking at the screen, and I learned that in tablets and cell phones and stuff like that, there's a blue light in there that it can affect their sleep. So she just suggested that it's not going to damage his eyes, but take it away from him 30 minutes before you want him to go to sleep, so that it won't give him like that insomnia, because my son would never sleep. He would have the worst like insomnia. He would be up to the next morning when it's time for him to go to school. He never went to sleep because he always on that iPad. So I have to take the iPad literally away from him so his eyes can adjust, just for him to be able to fall asleep. So like in the study, it shows like it depends on what they're watching. If they're watching a bunch of like violent stuff, of course it can influence violence in their life, because they can try to, as long as you explain to them what's real and what's not real, and they won't go to school trying to karate chop kids because they're playing fighting games and Street Fighter all day. I don't even know if they still have Street Fighter, but as long as you as a parent explain to them what's real and what's not real, it don't have any effect on them. Actually, kids are learning at a faster speed using the tablets and learning programs like the Disney Channel, Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, and different other learning things. Like YouTube have all these channels for kids where they can learn. So it's not a negative thing. It actually helps some kids. Is there a purpose for what, Trina? I'm just rambling on. I didn't even see your question. Are you talking about the schools? But yeah, it's so crazy how many questions I had and topics. But you guys can still send me subjects to talk about, so I can come live and discuss it, or create a class, or write an ebook. I did have some people that asked about the IEP. I'm not familiar with IEP, so I'm gonna have to do some research on it. Yeah, they say the new math is for the new generation on how technology is going. I still don't get it, because they're trying to teach kids one way of doing stuff and one structure, when every kid don't learn the same. Like my son have a problem with math, with the Common Core math, because he figure out the answer in his head, but he don't know how to show you the work. But he have the right answer, but if you ask him to write it down or show the work, he's a visual person, so he has a image in his head, and he'll sit there and be like in the air drawing it out and figuring it out in his head. But if you ask him to write it on paper, he'll cry, he'll feel bad, he'll be like, I'm stupid because I don't know how to write it out. So I deal with that with my son. where I'm trying to help him figure out how to express the math equation like on paper versus just the answer. He's like, I don't know how I got the answer. It just popped up in my head. Like he just figured it out real quick. But he cannot. His teacher has like fought with him on that. Like I'm like, well, he have the answer. So to me, I'm like, well, what's the problem? It's not like he getting the wrong answer on his test and stuff. You see, he's not cheating. And they're like, but we still need him to show his work. So she always mark him off for not showing work, which is so frustrating to him because he will fight tooth and nail about it. And if he don't be a lawyer or a debater, like, I'm going to question him. Like, boy, he will negotiate and, like, well, if you give me bonus problems and I get the right answer, can I get all the credit? Like, he tried to negotiate with his teacher. And, but we're working on the whole math, being able to write out the problem. But I just don't get the Common Core. Because to me, I don't see where they're going with it, even though they say it's because of how technology is changing and engineering and the engineering, math, and technology, as far as figuring out problems and equations and stuff like that. I'm like, it was fine the way we learned, and look where we at. And then I feel like they're taking kids 2 steps behind because a lot of kids don't understand the Common Core and that one way of learning. Because I know growing up, I don't know if my math teacher is on here listening, but Mr. H, he was like the best math teacher ever. He taught and split the class up based on your level and how you learn. So you're with like-minded people that figure problems out the same way you do and on the same level as you. Then there's this group that do everything fast and a little farther ahead. Then there's the average group. So it's like, you got the answer. It don't matter how you got it. You figured it out. Like me, I'll figure out, especially with calculus, I don't have a whole page written out work. I cut steps, but I got the same answer as everybody else, but mine just don't take up a whole page to write it out. Like, I'm not as detailed with each step. I figure it out, but it's going to be cutting corners, and that's just the way I've always done math. I'll figure it out in my head, write it out, but it ain't gonna have every little step that you did. But we did come to the same one, but I always took shortcuts. And people are like, how did you figure that out in a shortcut? Like, I don't know, I can't explain it to you, but this is how I got that answer. So I don't even get mad at my son because I know I was the same way in school. And then he's always tested above his grade, but I don't want to skip him because he's already well beyond his years, and he already looked way bigger than the kids, but maturity wise he's where he needs to be. So I didn't want to mess that up and make him grow up faster than what he need to. But just to recap, we talked about generational curse. It can be changed. When you know better, you do better. So don't settle with, oh, my family is full of alcoholics, so I may be an alcoholic. No, or my family is all diabetics. You can take on a healthier lifestyle. You don't have to be what your family is. It's just nobody taught them how to do anything differently. So I always encourage people, do your research and do the work. So that's pretty much all I have for you guys today. I'm going to be leaving in like 5 minutes to go pick my son up from school, and then mommy mode started, and I do overtime tonight. But I will keep you guys updated on the potty training class. I'm just working on the workbook right now. It is going to be free. I love my mommies. And I do want you guys to potty train with success, because I know it is not an easy task, especially with boys. And it's a little easier with girls. I don't know. Well, they only have to sit down. But boys, you got to teach them both. So, or figure out how they want to do it. So, you can always visit my website, MoniqueAtkinsCoaching.com, if you want to get the co-parenting guide ebook or the 5 steps. I know a few people bought the 5 steps to change your child's behavior today. Thank you guys. And I do want to thank all the new members that I've been getting lately. I haven't had time to write down everybody's name, but I really appreciate everybody, and I did want you guys to know that. And if you're ready to have your breakthrough session with me, or you just have questions, or you get stuck in life, you just like, Coach Mo, can I talk to you? I'm always available. You can hit me up. You can message me. You can email me at MoniqueAtkins12@gmail. But all my contact information is on my business page. You can join the Facebook group. You can also reach me there, and it'll have my email and my website. But I'm always available to help you guys. I love you guys. You guys like motivate me to want to help people. I know always reach out to me. Sorry, I just had another call coming in. It's crazy that it come in on my iPad because my phone is somewhere near. But thank you guys for joining me. I was trying not to make it so long, but thank you guys. I just got another call, so I'll talk to you guys later, and I'll keep you guys. Dang, they called 3 times, so I'll let you guys go. Have a nice day.